at Ludwig Field. It's the house that Sasho built as the reigning national champions Maryland welcome in Brian Weiss and number 12 Georgetown. Big-time men's college soccer on FS1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dean Linke with my Indiana Soccer Hall of Famer Chris Dorn. And Chris, mad respect between these two teams.
Yeah, they're really terrific. We can talk about the terrific goal scorers or the hard work that two really hot goalkeepers are going to put into this match, but instead we're going to talk about the glue guys, as the coaches call them, the guys who keep the back and the front connected. Redshirt freshman Nick Richardson is having one of his best, actually his best season really, as a Maryland Terp. Has done such a nice job for Sasha Sarowski in making sure that balls get distributed out of the back and that defensively they stay organized in the back four. On the other side for Georgetown, sophomore Sean Zawatsky. He's an automatic on game day. You put his name on the starting 11, then you build everybody around him according to his coach. Irreplaceable for the Hoyas.
As the crow flies, these two fine universities less than 10 miles apart. It's number 25 Maryland, number 12 Georgetown. Big time men's college soccer coming up on FS1. Great to be with you on FS1 from College Park, Maryland, Ludwig Field, number 12 Georgetown, number 25 Maryland. Alongside Chris Dorn, I'm Dean Linke. Let's take a look at the starting lineups first for our visitors from Georgetown.
Yeah, that 4-4-2 has been very productive for Georgetown. Montes and Dotson up top. They account for 29 goals in their careers as Hoyas. And Coach Brian Weiss is very happy with the productivity from this group this year.
In his 14th season, Brian Weiss almost won a national championship, losing to Indiana in 2012. He is the top man for the Georgetown Hoyas. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Sasho Sarowski's Maryland Terrapins.
Have got to slow the Hoyas down, and so Johnston and Crenali are going to play in a non-pivot, more attacking, with Richardson staying alone in the sixth position. That's extremely important for Sasha Sarowski as they try to minimize the possession of Georgetown.
Happy birthday, Sasho Sarowski. Today is his birthday. They're serving his special ice cream. They're giving scarves out in honor of his birthday. 27 amazing seasons, 3 national championships as the top man here in Maryland. And really, you talk about pivot. He is the pivot player for college soccer, particularly as they look to build this 21st century model and great crowds. I mean, all the impact moves in college soccer, Sasho's had his hand on it.
Every year here at Ludwig alone there are changes, and those are all driven by Sasha walking down the hall to the AD's office or the promo director's office and saying, we've got to add red lights, we need sound effects, we need this and that, and then other programs copy the lead from Maryland.
And they need a stadium. That'll be the next thing after they get that 21st century model going. We'll talk more about that later, as we're delighted to have you here on FS1. There's Achara, the talented player who missed a ton of games, scored 2 goals in the last game, though. Came over when he was 16 years old from Nigeria. Told me yesterday at practice, family extremely poor, had the opportunity to come over. Now his brother is over, and his brother is scoring goals for Tim Lenahan at Northwestern. He goes by Achara Jr. As you look at this history right here, yeah, it looks lopsided, but Georgetown 3-1-2 in the last 6 meetings, including 2 wins right here at Ludwig Field.
That is a big project to come into Ludwig and take a victory. Whether you're 10 miles away on campus or you're 1,000 miles away, this is a tough place to play.
Well said. Here's Johannes Bergman, that great cultured left foot from Germany, the leader in the back, as Donovan Pines now playing for DC United. These two teams met in 2012 in the College Cup semifinals, 4-4, then penalty kicks, and then Indiana was able to beat what you could be considered a very tired Georgetown team after overtimes and PKs and 8 goals, 1-0 to win the championship in 2012. The DeRozas, right side and left for Maryland. Justin Geelan scored a beautiful header just a few days ago on our sister station, the Big Ten Network, flying high in the air on that header to tie Michigan State 1-1.
This is the possession that Sasha Sarowski is trying to minimize that Georgetown's enjoying right now. And they desperately want to possess right in front of that back four, the last line of defense before the goalkeeper, and see what they can do in terms of creating chances.
Here's Achara. Achara cut back. A little issue with his meniscus, cleaned it up, so had to miss several games. But he has been back and flying all over the place, and told us yesterday at practice doesn't need a brace or anything, feels really good, and now just getting into fitness. He'll be ready for the postseason. Brian Weiss reminding the team as he let us go in the huddle that just 6 games remaining. He said it's all about the details right now, Chris Doran.
The details and finding that leader in this group who's going to put the hand on the collar of every teammate and say, we've got to shut this game down. And so when Georgetown gets the lead, if they get it tonight, and the minutes are waning on the clock, we want to see that Georgetown leadership group step forward and really shut down Maryland to get the result tonight.
Thank Brian Weiss for the incredible access at practice. Georgetown taking their time with it. Sean O'Hearn, the junior from Mountville, PA. Went back by the Terps as Eric Matsalevich, a true number 9, and the work rate. Sasho had high praise for Matsalevich and what he's done this season, a team that lost a ton of players from last year.
Got a restart opportunity for Maryland back on their defensive half as we hear the first whistle from our referee, Soren Stoika, tonight.
Five minutes into this one. Maryland in their white, black and white. Georgetown in their visiting blue and gray. Monday night soccer, and you think a tough night, but the crew in full force. Nice crowd here, good atmosphere. And Georgetown setting up a busload of students on this Columbus Day. As we said earlier, these universities so close. It takes a little while to get there, mind you, but they are close.
Well, they are, and Georgetown doesn't have class today because it's Columbus Day, so they get the day off. Maryland students had to be in class today, so not quite as convenient. And ironically, this game actually was scheduled to be played on the Georgetown campus this year. It instead was switched to Ludwig Field because Georgetown doesn't have lights.
That's Levich. Geelan. Cronally pushes forward and is parried away as the youngster in goal, Romero, getting the start as Georgetown has rotated goalkeepers all year long. Romero getting the start.
A little more goal scoring from Eli Cronally is what his coach would like. This is a really great buildup from Maryland, but the big time save in place for the goalkeeper Romero, who has a terrific style about him and is boasting a 401 record with 3 shutouts on the season.
Yeah, he's been splitting time with Giannis Nikopolidis from Greece, who played the majority in goal last year. Corner kick for Maryland, headed back. And Romero will let it roll out of bounds as he learns new things about his family with the crew in full force right behind him.
They do a little research on the opponent. Actually, quite a bit of research. They dig really deep. Prepare the material and bring it out in full voice.
Well, they're going to be especially amped up if they had some of Sasho's ice cream, right?
That's right. Sasho celebrating his birthday, as you mentioned, in the open, and free ice cream for the first 500 or so students who showed up tonight.
Georgetown quickly in transition. Achara was trying to get in a good spot to receive this. Making a run is Montez. It'll be knocked out of bounds. It'll be a throw in near side. Throw in for Georgetown. Jacob Montez, the junior from Lake Worth, Florida. Part of the Timbers program. That'll be deflected out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick. Corner kick Georgetown. How about that stat earlier? Georgetown 3-29-2, but all 3 victories have come in the last 5 seasons, including 2 on the road. Last year, the squads played to a 0-0 double overtime tie at Shaw Field on the campus of Georgetown. The last meeting here at Ludwig Field was a 1-0 victory in 2017 as Montez, taking the corner kick, actually scored the game winner in the 88th minute. Montez with the corner kick. Bouncing around, loose. Neumann stayed put This one sent over the crossbar as the youngster Niklas Neumann, the freshman from Germany, is starting to settle in goal.
Neumann's got to make a challenge. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry, as it drops outside the goal frame and out above the 6. Neumann stays put, and that's a good decision from the young goalkeeper. These restarts are going to be critical for both teams. Both teams are filled with opportunists when it comes to goal scoring on restarts.
So one thing we can tell you is Daniel Wu, the freshman from Cary, North Carolina, wearing number 5, actually getting the nod to start, as he's sitting next to Real Hope Gunn. So a last-minute change there by Brian Weiss. He said it was a possibility, but earlier today had confirmed that Wu would come off the bench, but Wu gets the start, and there is Wu right there. Wu, part of the North Carolina FC youth system, coached by John Bradford, one of the top academy-level coaches. Chara can't get to it, and DeRosa has it. So this will be a big test for the freshman Wu in combination back there with Real Hope Gunn, the junior from New York, New York, with the Friends Seminary. Real Hope Gunn did. J.B. Fisher will bring it back to Real Hope Gunn. He'll spin around and give it to Wu. Wu is on it. Wu sending it long. Wu had looked at North Carolina for just a little bit, and then Brian Weiss came in late, grabbed him, and super happy with this young man.
He's been good, and he's got great presence in the back. He's got 9 starts under his belt, so it's not like he doesn't have a proven track record of success for Coach Brian Weiss.
Yeah, that's well said. Brian was talking about maybe bringing in some veterans because of the atmosphere here, but like you're talking about, with those 9 starts, went with Wu, and it also allows him to have O'Hearn out on one side as well as the talented Nealis on the other side. And of course, this is not the first Nealis to roll through Georgetown. The 4 Nealis brothers all played big-time college soccer, including one of the Nealises that was on that 2012 team, Jimmy.
And Brett St. Martin gets a little tangled up here, and that's the tackle on the ball that resulted in the foul. St. Martin is up for Maryland.
And Chris, St. Martin had to fill the shoes of Donovan Pines, who at times dominated the games over the years here at Maryland.
Yeah, Donovan was a big-time presence and does so well in his training with DC United's academy. Was able to hook up with them at the end of the college season last year.
Conali switches it to Matsalevich. Matsalevich has DeRosa. Matsalevich. Johnston. Back to Matsalevich. He's in. Touch. And looked like it went off Georgetown. It came back off of Matsalevich, though, so it'll stay with the Hoyas.
Good build-up for Maryland, and Matsalevich is going to wait for a moment. But this is great combination play as they look to get inside and create that chance. Matsalevich is a guy who just doesn't give up. He's got great heart. His coach just loves the way he commits himself and cares so much about the game and cares so much about performing well for his club. He's only got 3 goals on the season. You're a front runner for a big-time team like Maryland. You got to be scoring more goals, but Matsalevich is getting his chances. He's just got to find a way to put him away.
Georgetown comes in 9-1-1, number 12 in the country. Their RPI is top 5, just to give you an idea of how good this team is. Maryland 6-3-2. They're number 25. Coming off that 1-1 tie at Michigan State, where after 90 minutes, such a downpour, they actually called the game and did not play the overtime. Probably wise. Safety of the athletes. It was just a mud pool, slipping and sliding all over the place. This will come back to Neumann. This is Georgetown's 2nd game against a ranked opponent this season. Their only loss came at number 17 Louisville. However, that glue player that Chris Doran talked about, Zawatsky, did not play in that game. And to make matters worse, on the drive over, Jack Beer and Dante Pavara, according to their SID, Barbara Barnes, they were thrown up on the bus, like violently, and they weren't available, so the team was decimated by injuries. So tough to gauge that result. Cleared out of there by Georgetown. Push it to Achara. Achara is one of those players you want to buy a ticket for. He's that exciting. He's playing on the left wing, but you'll see him sit at the number 9 center forward spot quite a bit as well. J.B. Fisher. Fisher from France. They bring it out to Daniel Wu. Back in the middle to Zawadzki. Now the one named Achara.
What we're seeing from both of these teams in fits and spurts is exactly what they want to be doing. The possession for Georgetown in this sequence right now is a positive for Coach Brian Weiss.
Dotson, good trap, gets it over to Ethan Lochner, getting the start, the grad student from New York. Now Sean O'Hearn. Georgetown starts going to the right side. That's when you'll see Nealis as they create all kinds of room for Nealis, and there it is, just like that. Nealis ready for it. Nealis can serve a good ball on that right side, decides to give it back for a better opportunity, and this one, Achara will run out of surface, and it'll come back to Maryland.
Surviving those stretches of possession is important to Coach Sasho Surofsky and the Maryland Terrapins tonight. They've got to approach this game, and they actually have admitted they're approaching this game as a bit of an underdog given the start of their season, but they are certainly up to the task, and they've done well so far to match the pace. Maryland is extremely successful on restarts. They've scored 5 of their 13 goals this year on restarts, and they're going to look for those opportunities. We saw one early in the match where Eli Cronali immediately put a dead ball into play and caught Georgetown offside. So those situations important. On shooting restarts, really important, as well as corner kicks and throw-ins deep in the attacking third.
You mentioned offside. Dotson was a step offside, so Maryland gets the whistle. Now Maryland has it. St. Martin, right center back next to the talented Bergman, and they are sandwiched in between the DeRosa twins. We asked Sasho Surofsky, how do you differentiate the two DeRosas? He said, well, one's left-footed, one's right-footed. That's the best way. He said they're grade points. They're both like 3.8, 3.9, so they're locked and loaded there. High academic, great family. And the number one thing is, just kind of like what you said about Zawadzki, the Roses are automatic pencil-ins for Sasho on the other side.
Yeah, really easy to love, Coach Sasho said about his DeRosa franchise of wingbacks.
Hey, Justin, with 7 or 20.
Yes, they should open up a shop. Well said. Little touch there. Cronali in the second half against Michigan State was outstanding in tough conditions, and so was Matsalevich. Geelan wasn't too bad either, as he scored the equalizer. This will roll out of bounds.
That's a really nifty ball for Matsalevich coming up the flank, and he's able to see Geelan right around the corner, flicks it up and around the defender's head. This is really nifty stuff, and it starts with Eli Cronali, who in this advanced position tonight as an 8 has really done well to push the attack. Matsalevich on the sprint, the big service forward.
Richardson headed out by Wu. Georgetown on it. Lochner getting the start. Brian Weiss will go to his bench here in the first half. So will Sasho. Both teams will go to their bench. Sasho Surofsky, though, his team banged up even more than Georgetown, as Brian Padilla, their number 10, tore his ACL a couple weeks ago to join Paul Bin on the IR. And there you see Sasha William, James Hervey also out, although they are expecting at least to get Hervey back. They won't get Padilla or Bin back, as the trainer for Georgetown making her way out to check on number 12, Dylan Nealis.
See what happened to Nealis here as he drifts outside the captain. He's got DeRosa closing him down, and he gets the ball back into his face.
Dylan did not practice yesterday. He's been a little banged up. What a family, though, the Nealis family. As we mentioned, Jimmy played on that 2012 team that beat Maryland in the College Cup before losing to Indiana. Dylan plays here. Sean played at Hofstra, now playing for New York Red Bulls 2. And Connor played for Paul Marco at Binghamton. So 4 Nealis brothers all playing D1 college soccer at a pretty high level, as Foster McCune, who we thought was going to start, now comes in for Nealis. So McCune, the junior from Bethesda, Maryland, will come in. You think about Bethesda, Maryland, you think about Brian Weiss, his daughter, pretty good soccer player. As you see Nealis getting taken care of by the trainer, actually was coached by Shannon Higgins Sarofsky, Sasho Sarofsky's talented wife, who, besides winning 4 national championships at UNC, she was one of the best players for the 1991 U.S. World Cup soccer team that won the first ever World Cup over in China. So the point is, the ties that bind these two fine programs go right down to their family and their kids. It's fantastic. Achara, he's got Dotson in front of him. He'll leave Montez. Richardson will clean it up. Achara called for the foul, so to Rosa. Quickly now to Gielan. Gielan, the 2 sports star from DeMatha High School down the road. Big-time athletes have come out of there. Great basketball player. You saw his hops in that goal against Michigan State last Friday night. Montez.
Well done there.
Sean O'Hearn, middle of the park now to Zawadzki.
The big switch is where Georgetown is finding the real estate, but once they get to that new channel, they've got to attack a little quicker in order to expose Maryland on the adjustment defensively in their shape.
Georgetown coming off a 2-0 victory over Seton Hall on Friday night. Wu back to Zawadzki. Sean O'Hearn. O'Hearn. It's now McCune because Nealis went out. So a good run here for Foster McCune. Nealis now also working with the medical staff from Maryland. He took a shot to the face as they're working on his, it's like around his jawbone. You don't see it on your TV screen, but he's right down in front of us. As that one will roll out of bounds. It'll be a throw into Georgetown. There he is. Hoyas. Boy, they keep it on the carpet clean. As I say that, taken away right there. Blue looked like a bump. The referee says, no, play on. They're going to let him play right now, Chris.
Well, Blue's got to invest a little extra effort there. He's the reason why they lost possession in a dangerous part of the field. He fights back for it, is able to regain possession for the Hoyas.
So the rule is, on the first half, if there's blood, you can come back in. So that's what's going to happen. So they took care of the blood, and Nealis is going to come back in here in the first half. Gives you a little bit of idea of how important he is to this team.
Well, Georgetown knows it, and so too does Sasha Sarofsky. As the Maryland coach told us yesterday, that Nealis is MLS quality.
Right.
And he is he's a next-level talent. So it's good to see that he's healthy and back in this match. I mentioned that both these teams played on Friday night. Of course, a home game for the Hoyas and on the road at Michigan State in that rain-drenched game on Friday evening. And then Maryland was delayed in their flight out of Detroit the next day by 4 hours. So they didn't get back to College Park until mid-afternoon. They missed out on full training, an opportunity to at least regenerate with the full training staff.
Which only adds fuel to the fire, right, as part of that 21st Century program, which calls for the soccer season to be split between the fall and spring and eliminate those midweek games, those Friday, Monday situations, or Tuesday, Saturday. Achara drops it back to J.D. Fisher. They get it inside, looking for Dotson. Dotson can dance with it. And he turns, runs into Bergman. Dotson so creative, soft feet, and then he's got a quick release. Keep an eye out for that. Left, still loose in front. Staying with us, Georgetown. Neumann comes back across. Maryland has 5 white jerseys behind Neumann, including St. Martin, who finally clears it.
It's a big-time sequence for Georgetown, and this starts with Nealis, who just came back in the game. He goes to the goal line, whips the ball across past 3 Hoyas, and then the 4th one opts to go ahead and take a swing at it. I'm sorry that no one was more greedy in that situation, and then it's eventually cleared from Maryland.
Lochner with the final touch. And cleared by St. Martin. Here's a Chara. Good ball in. Knocked down right at the top of the 18. As down goes Montez. No whistle. The referee's been consistent. I will give him that on both sides. You saw Wu earlier, no whistle, and now the knockdown just outside the 18, and no whistle again. Justin Gielan now gives it to Malcolm Johnston. Johnston will fill the shoes of Brian Padilla at that number 10. DeRosa back to Johnston. Johnston blocked there by O'Hearn to be a throw in Maryland. DeRosa, Cronale.
Why are you guys overly there?
Sent across, climbing for it. You saw climbing high was number 20, Justin Harris, and Justin Gielan. The 2 Justins were ready.
I think Dylan Nealis may be the victim of that contact yet again. Still concerned about his jaw from the previous injury. Soren Stoik is going to have a word with him. He went up and challenged for the ball. Great service from DeRosa. And it was head-to-head, it looked like.
Jeez. One of those days, right? Just one of those days, as we mentioned, didn't practice yesterday, and now comes out here and takes not but 1, but 2 shots to the face.
Kind of an Iron Man is Dylan Nealis. This is his 64th game started in a Hoya uniform.
Well, you said he's going to play pro. I mean, look, his brother Jimmy, who played for Georgetown, 37th pick by the Dynamo. And then his other brother, Sean, who played at Hofstra, the 25th pick by New York Red Bulls. So you know that Dylan Nealis is going to get drafted. Nearly 6 feet tall. Can you imagine the basement at the Nealis house with a soccer ball down there?
More than one ball, I can tell you that.
All right, halfway through the first half here. Dean Lincoln with Chris Jordan. Chris, your thoughts so far? Good pace, nothing super dangerous so far.
No, not dangerous. I think the restarts are going to be pivotal in this match, as they often are, but in particular because Maryland is so dangerous, Georgetown is going to have to be mentally tuned in on each and every one of those opportunities that Maryland finds themselves in. Georgetown in their possession looked very, very sharp. The way they recycle the ball through the pack has been very clean, and again, when they switch the point of attack, they have to take that lane and go at it in an effort to catch Maryland in the adjustment of their defensive shape. Maryland has dropped back defensively very, very well to absorb the pressure that Georgetown's bringing.
Georgetown, 3 shots so far. Maryland 1. Maryland has not had a shot, though, in the last 17 minutes. They switch it to Achara, and he'll head it right back to Justin Gielan. Now Cronale. Cronale, who spent 1 year at Belmont, then transferred in after seeing his brother have outstanding success as the Big Ten Defender of the Year for some very good Maryland teams. We told you Brian Weiss would make a lot of subs, and that's exactly what's going on now, is got some players going in. Number 17, Dante Pavara, the freshman from Pleasantville, New York, is in. And then we also see Zach Riviere. He's a sophomore from Piscataway, New Jersey, St. Joseph High School. Come into the game. Riviere's got a hat trick this year. Bergman. DeRosa. As that was Riviere closing down on DeRosa, the far side. He just flies all over the place, folks. Not a giant guy, but just never stops moving. And he'll cause some problems as they'll keep Dotson up at center forward, but Achara on one side, Riviere on the other. They play it through Zawadzki. Now Montez, who will drop a little bit deeper behind those three when Ryan Weiss makes these changes. Riviere flying in just like we told you, and Riviere will earn a corner kick. This kid's got an engine that just keeps on buzzing.
Yeah, I love the diagonal run that he makes underneath as this ball is working its way to the top of the penalty box, but Riviere is coming in and gets the combination. One time off his chest, and great defensive work, Maryland, to snuff that one out. Riviere will go to work in the corner now for Georgetown.
You saw Ben DeRosa asking for a corner kick, but you called it right, Chris. Riviere chested into space. Driven in. Good ball. Snapped out of there. St. Martin, high climber. And now they'll leave it for Neumann. St. Martin is so good in the air on those corners. Obviously not as tall as Donovan Pines, as nobody is, but he can climb the ladder.
Donovan Pines got a handful of starts with DC United this year. It was good to see him get his shot. He's got a bright future at the pro level.
Matsalevich heard DeRosa making the run. DeRosa first times it. Good idea, trying to find Gielan. Knocked out of bounds over there in front of the crew. This high-charging fan base for Maryland men's soccer.
Matsalevich does a really nice job of bringing this ball down. Coaxes the defender, but then lays this ball out as DeRosa runs on the overlap, and then Dylan Nealis just plays the safe ball out.
Cronelli serves a great ball. Free kicks, corner kicks. He can do both. He can drive it or he can loft one. This one he drives. Snapped out of there. Rio Gund. Too far as Richardson did not get a good touch on that. O'Hearn will have the throw in front of the Georgetown bench. The Georgetown bench telling O'Hearn, just relax. Take it easy. Throw in to Zawadzki. Good to see Nealis still in there. As we've got under 19 minutes remaining here in this one, still no score. Top 25 matchup between Maryland and the Georgetown Hoyas. And look, Chris, we talk a lot about this, the respect, but the mutual admiration between these two coaches, I think, is genuine and it is real.
Yeah, their paths cross so much just being in the metro area, whether it's recruiting or their kids playing club soccer or their wives, in certain cases, heading up certain clubs in the Maryland area. So it's a natural. And Sasha told me before the game, I consider Brian a part of the family. So, you know, to that extent, we see that sort of common bond between some of the coaches who compete season in and season out, and then compete on the recruiting trail too.
Well, and Sasho, not just on his birthday, but every day, calls it like he sees it. And he said basically, look, Georgetown right now is a team ready to win a national championship. We think we will be down the road, just like they were last year after struggling to start. But right now, the Hoyas, he said, flat out as good as any team in the country. And he also meant that.
He certainly did. I don't think he tosses compliments like that around very often.
Luke Brown is going to come in for Justin Gielan. So Brown is in. The senior, Cambridge, England. And we mentioned Sean Nealis, who played at Hofstra. Well, Brown is a transfer from Hofstra, now playing for the Maryland Terrapins.
Despite only taking bets between them. Thomas thinks that Harambe didn't matter.
Johannes Bergman will take the deeper free kicks, and when we say culture left foot, and he doesn't use it, he drops it instead to Cronelli, but Bergman can serve a great ball. Cronelli handled there by Achara. Achara will chest it down, and off to the races goes Georgetown. Dotson, look at that little touch. Knowing Achara can get to it. What a tackle by St. Martin. That touch from Dotson off the side of his foot. The special sauce you like to talk about.
Chara started that run at the 18 at the other end of the field, and off to the races. There he goes. Quick one touch from the inside out. The open space is there on the flank as DeRosa's caught up in the set piece situation. But St. Martin does such a nice job of making the final tackle.
What a touch by Dotson. Side of his foot into space, forcing St. Martin to make that run to stop Achara, who wins it. Now Montez is on it. Montez marked by Richardson. Montez saying corner. Referee saying no. Good defense by Richardson. It'll be a goal kick, Maryland.
I think our referee may have gotten some feedback on his decision there, but what looked like a corner kick to be ends up being a quick restart. We're on the other side of the field already.
Yeah, great look by our FS1 crew. It did look like it went off Richardson. Well done, Chris. Referee didn't see it. Maryland will take it. Maryland will have a throw-in. Little touch there from Luke Brown. Just came in moments ago. Neumann makes himself available for Bergman. Well done by the young goalkeeper.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of communication there, and as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that Neumann brings to the Maryland Terrapins back line is his strong voice. It's very calming, and right now in really good form for Maryland, and that's why he's earned the starts from Coach Sasho Surofsky.
When you look at that record and you see just those 3 wins against 29 losses, 2 ties, you think this is totally lopsided. But as we've said, the last several years, it's been tight. And really, it goes back to that semifinal in 2012 of the College Cup when it went 4-4 and went PKs. And it featured some of the best players on both these teams. When you look at Steve Newman and Jimmy Nealis and Keegan Rosenberry, to name a few for Georgetown, as the Hoyas now on the attack. Riviere will earn a corner kick. Maryland, they had Shiloh Shuma, John Sturzer, Patrick Mullins, who won 2. Mac Herman, Sonny Jane, Dan Metzger, Taylor Kemp. I mean, Mike Ambrose came off the bench. Tsubasa Endo, Jake Pace, who's on the coaching staff, scored against Louisville in the Elite 8. Phenomenal names as we've got more subs. Sands has come in for Georgetown. Riviere, great ball, driven across, trying to find Daniel Wu. Riviere. Montez will step into it. No problem. Neumann will play it off the field boards and put it down for a quick goal kick. Montez has dropped back a little bit behind Dotson with Riviere in there buzzing around. Cornelli bring it back to DeRosa. Here's Richardson. Bergman. Brett St. Martin.
Second.
Montez.
That's yours, Brett.
Again.
Good hard tackle. Challenging Will Sands, the freshman from Rye, New York.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, and boy, is he strong on the ground in these tackles. He knows exactly what he's doing. Outside back when he came to Maryland, has been pinched into a center back role and has done so well for Maryland.
So Watzke will switch the point of attack to Dante Pavara. Pavara, a freshman. Pavara's got some height out there, like 6'4". You can pick him out in the middle of the field, and he makes himself available right now. Give it back to Wu. Wu, so clean. Will Sands, they don't make it easy for Will Sands. The first 2 balls Will's had to deal with, one was a 50-50 against St. Martin. Nobody wants that, and this one over his head. Quick throw in for Ben DeRosa. Now Cornelli's on it. Ben DeRosa still there. Handled by St. Martin. Under 12 minutes left in this one. One shot for Maryland, 4 shots for Georgetown. Eric Matsalevich. Matsalevich over to DeRosa. DeRosa. First times it again. And Romero kind of dancing around the goal line. And the crew thought maybe he floated in, but it doesn't matter what he does. Romero's going to hear it from the crew, Chris.
Yeah, and that's a great ball from Ben DeRosa. It's got your goalkeeper going backwards, and only the crossbar is there to protect you at that point. Good feet from Romero. And a quick restart and all the way back down the field again. Georgetown
in terms of possession, has been much more creative with their buildup.
Good ball other side. Now is an opportunity for Sands to do something. Sands trying to dance with it. Sands will earn a corner kick. It'll go off of DeRosa, as this time Sands had some time and space.
Does well. He needs more players to join in on the attack in that situation.
More subs coming in here for Georgetown. Jack Beer. And then also the transfer from Notre Dame, Paul Rothrock, the junior from Seattle. Played last year for Notre Dame. Was actually on the bench when Notre Dame lost in the Elite Eight to Indiana in Bloomington. And then right after that game, he had made the decision that he was going to move on, put himself in the transfer portal, and told me last night that there were a couple schools, but once he got on campus and met Brian Weiss, it was automatic. He said, I realized I was going even further from my family in Seattle, but he told me that for him, the college experience is about getting outside of his comfort zone, leaving his surroundings. It would have been easy for him, he said, to go play for Jamie Clark. He thought about it, but he wanted to challenge himself both on the soccer field and off.
That's a really mature decision for somebody his age to be contemplating all of the circumstances surrounding that. Georgetown is just a terrific campus, and we spent some time there yesterday. I'd never actually walked on campus before. Super intimate environment, and just really welcoming to students, as is the Maryland environment too, and any other university as well. But I can see as he weighs his decision how Georgetown would be attractive.
Rothrock, there he is. Rothrock telling me he's got 3 sisters, and one of his sisters, Rosie, is expecting a baby any day now, he said. Could happen tonight.
This is good defensive shape from Maryland right now. Not giving Georgetown much in the middle of the field.
Here is Rothrock. Taken away by Richardson. DeRosa. Maryland. For a moment, pushing forward is Richardson. Referee again letting him play. Cronali. Left it in by Johnston. Held up. Georgetown. Maryland doing a better job shutting down any possibility of this transition game for the Hoyas, which is so dynamic. They'll try to play it through the middle. Good drop here at the moment by Georgetown, and this time, no, still no whistle. Maryland still with it. And too long, too strong for Matulevich.
I think so far it's been real fair play. I think the referee is not only just letting them play, but he's observing the detail of every contact here. There's not much, there's no call, no reason for a call in that situation.
Guevara. Sands is open. Sands, how about that? Karate Kid touch. Dancing around with it. Jack Beer. And that'll sail over as we're under 7 minutes remaining. Still no score. Georgetown and Maryland.
You see how interesting this works out for Jack Beer. He's a 2-footed player. First you get the great ball from Sands, and now inside, should I go to my right or my left? And he can go to either one of them because he's such a great player on both feet. Just got to get over it to keep it under the crossbar.
Fola Adetola coming into the game, as Sasha Swarovski has told us he has been looking good in practice, part of the DC United Academy, Bowie High School, Bowie, Maryland. So into the game, Fola Adetola. wearing that number 29. The Maryland Terrapins. There's the new player for the Terps. Junior, listed as a forward, but can play in the midfield. Adetola, his presence felt defensively. That was Beer, number 11. Battle won by Maryland. Luke Brown. Now Wu.
Hey, Brett, you got two. Brett, you got two.
Chris, you were impressed with the flow of the Hoyas practice yesterday. Why was that?
Oh, it was the progression of everything. Coming out of the locker room, the dynamic warm-up very quickly, and then once the guys are warm, getting soccer balls at their feet, very tight spaces, working 5v2, a little transition game in a very tight space, and then a non-directional activity with possession emphasized in a larger space. Then you bring in goals for directional play, and then from there, coach really opened things up and decided to go 11v11 in tight space, but that was just a matter of positional work for the both the reserves as well as the starters for today's match. So I just like the pace, I like the rhythm, I like the excitement, I like the minimal amount of feedback that the players got, but I also like the enthusiasm from the coaching staff through every activity.
Yeah, it was clean right down to the final 5 minutes when he said, all right, 5 minutes, you guys do a little bit of this, you guys take some shots, and at 5 minutes, I'm going to blow the whistle, and we're done. We're good.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
It was, and that's the cool down, you know, and then it's the last chat, the update on details today. They met at the bus, headed to a local restaurant, had their regular pregame meal, and then trucked on up here to Ludwig Field.
Under 4 minutes remaining in this one. Yeah, they weren't the only bus coming, though, from the campus of Georgetown. As he said, they sold out the seats for the student bus really quickly. And why not, right? An opportunity on a day when, as you said, they didn't have school to come on over and enjoy some quality college soccer. As this one popped deep. Look, we always get amped up for these games, but I really felt like the coaches were especially amped up to play each other.
Well, it means a lot. I mean, both teams are top 25 programs. At this point in the season, you only have a handful of games left. This is a non-conference game, so it's not going to really impact their immediate postseason, but long-term, the quality that Georgetown is bringing, and, of course, the resume that Sasho has in terms of his the schedule and the success that they've had. I mean, they're unbeaten in their last 5. You know, Maryland, it's not like Maryland's season has sunk like the Titanic.
Not at all, yeah.
So this is meaningful for postseason rankings and the RPI.
Absolutely. They're back in the top 25 and climbing. And as Sasho said, putting the pieces together to make perhaps another run. Georgetown, don't be surprised to see them there at the end. They are that good. 2 solid goalkeepers, great back line, excellent outside backs, midfielder, and then attackers. As Brian Weiss said, I've got a problem. I have almost too many attackers. It's the best problem I've ever had. O'Malley. Tola. Coming crashing in there for the Maryland Terrapins off the bench. Wearing number 6, he kind of snuck in on us there, is David Kovacic.
Yeah, great combination play getting out of this trouble spot in the flank, but then the cross ball and tough touch by Georgetown. David Kovacic comes in and gets right underneath that. My goodness, he's got to keep that down. That's a rare opportunity. And in a game like that, those rare opportunities have got to be seized.
Kovacic, the freshman from Slovenia, similar to the work in practice that Adetola's been doing. Sasha Shirosky didn't say a whole lot about him earlier in the season, but the last few games, both those players getting time, not just in the second half, but they get a run in the first half. Sands. Sean O'Hearn pops it forward. Transfer from Notre Dame. Paul Rothrock, junior from Seattle, Washington. Jack Beer. Nealis always serves a pretty good ball. Trying to find Zawadzki, making a run right down the spine.
That's a terrific ball, and now St. Martin is down. He's the player, the defender that challenged Nealis' service. Great ball in. I'm not sure who that obviously went off of Georgetown. St. Martin has helped himself up. He's been extraordinary back there in the back. Combining with Johannes Bergman. Two really strong central defenders for Maryland.
Yeah, he was able to get there first over Zawadzki. And now Neumann will let the final seconds count down here in what has been an entertaining first half despite no goals. Good flow to it, good touches. Nice counterattack from Georgetown. Give Maryland a ton of credit for the flow of play as well. As Maryland with 2 shots, Georgetown with 5 0-0s after 45.
Really entertaining first half of play. Both teams doing well in terms of executing where their specialties are. I think, from a restart standpoint, Maryland is always going to be strong in a game like this. And Georgetown, with their possession, has been so quick and so fluid with the ball.
Joined by Brian Weiss in his 14th season. And both coaches were excited about this game. I think it's lived up to it. Nice pace out there. Your thoughts on the first 45, Brian?
Well, it went by really, really fast, in my opinion. I look up the clock, and there's no time left. So, yeah, it's these games are always a lot of fun. It's a million miles an hour, and I think our job is to actually calm it down a little bit and see if we can make it as much of a soccer game as we can, and get a hold of some possession and get the game played a little bit more in the half.
Coach, you wanted some of that possession right in front of their back four. Are you getting as much as you really need in order to be successful in scoring tonight, or do you need more?
No, we need it. We need a lot more, and credit to them. I mean, Nick Richardson's got a lot of. He's been doing a lot of work in front of their back four to help protect them. But I think we can maybe wear them out a little bit and get some more space to play in front of their back four and behind them as well, to be fair. But we've got to be a little bit better with dictating the tempo of it.
Brian, thanks for letting us spend some time with your team. Good luck in the second half and the rest of the season.
All right, thanks, guys.
Brian Weiss, one of the great men of college soccer, his Georgetown Hoyas and the Maryland Terrapins. No scores, he said, end-to-end. A first half that flew by. Maryland and Georgetown at zeros on FS1. Monday night soccer under the lights at Ludwig. Feels like Friday night soccer because the crew is here making some noise, and we're joined by the top man for Maryland, 27 years, Sasho Sorosky. And Sasho, it doesn't take much to get you amped up, but you were really amped up for this game. That was a great first half.
It was a great first half. Georgetown is a great program, and much respect between the two programs. There was no score, but I thought it was a good half. Both teams are a little bit more direct than normal, but nonetheless, there's some great competition there in the midfield, and this is a game of transition, and I think the team that can find that one loose ball and catch a team on the counter is probably going to be winning this game.
Both teams are ready to go as well. Sasho, thanks so much for being with us. Happy birthday. Enjoy the second half.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Georgetown back out there in their blue jerseys. Maryland with the white tops. Cronally and taken down, and this time there will be a whistle. Not a ton of whistles in the first half, but that will merit a quick whistle and a quick restart here for Maryland. They square it, picked up by Zawadzki. All right, Chris Dorn, we're going to put your coach's hat on as you're a longtime coach. Part of the reason you're in the Indiana Soccer Hall of Fame. Let's start with Brian Weiss. What was his message to his team?
Well, I'm certain that it was keep the rhythm up, and it was probably protect the ball just a bit as they move into the attacking third. They really haven't taken many chances, but getting to the top of the 18 and then creating that one opportunity to finish a play is critical for Georgetown. Maryland's done very well defensively in keeping their shape, and I agree with Sasho Sorosky. It's really about that one chance that you get, and oftentimes in a game like this, it comes off of a restart situation. where a team is caught not fighting for that second ball, or a team is caught not necessarily marked properly. So the opportunity is going to present itself for both of these squads. The Hoyas, with the firepower that they're boasting this year, stand a better chance of finding it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Maryland's out of the equation. And for the Maryland Terrapins, I think their transition has been good. I like Eli Cronali a little higher up the field. It's worked well for them. He's getting a lot of good touches on the ball, and if he can continue to combine with his front runners, in particular with Gielan and Metzelevich, things are going to happen for Maryland.
Richardson will switch it out to DeRosa. Can we find a goal here in regulation? Chris and I were with you on FS1 the other night for Kentucky and Indiana. We couldn't find one through 110 minutes. Let's see if we can find one here in the second half. One way Georgetown can do it is they'll go deep. They played 6 players in the first half, Chris Doran, and that's sort of what they normally do.
I was a journalism major at IU. I was not a math major, but I can tell you this, after spending an hour with the numbers.
Hang on, Nealis first before the numbers. Nealis, great run, deflected by St. Martin. It'll be a corner kick. Corner kick, Hoyas.
How many times did we see this in the first half with Brett St. Martin going to the ground? Whoever does his uniform cleanup at the end of this match is going to have a lot of extra work to worry about. Great ball on the run from Dylan Nealis. Cuts it back, and St. Martin's in there for the earned deflection and denying Georgetown a clean look at goal. Jack Beer with the effort for the Hoyas.
Phenomenal run, though, by Nealis. He is so clean from that right back spot. And we expect next-level coaches to be excited about what he could bring over the head of Achara. And Harris gets a touch on it. As Harris came in hard just in the opening minute here of the second half, right after we were talking to Maryland's top man, Sasho Sarovsky.
So the Hoyas will traditionally, and on average, they will go to more than 8 players a game off the bench in an effort to keep it fresh and find the right equation for success.
So I did dabble in a little bit of math. That's 19 players per game, Chris Doran. 19.
They actually used 24 players in that 5-1 blowout at UCLA back in September.
See, I think that's great, right? These kids that show up every day for practice get a chance to get a nice little run against a good team in UCLA. Well done by the starters to give him that opportunity with that lead. Played forward here. Harris on the turn. He'll get it as Johnston gets it right back from Harris. Johnston sent in. Cronali is pushed forward just as Chris Doran told you, and Cronali will earn a corner kick, and he'll take the corner. See Sean O'Hearn, the junior.
Yeah, O'Hearn is not a typically sized center back. He's got the feistiness of one, but he's tremendous in the air and a great organizer defensively.
Sent in. Still loose. DeRosa will give Cronali another chance. Cronali got everybody on side. Headed out of there by Georgetown. And O'Hearn started the game at outside back because Daniel Wu was in there, but good call as O'Hearn now in the second half will play in the center. And that's kind of what we anticipated to start the game. Montez, nope, out of the back there. Real Hope Gunn, the junior from New York, New York. A quick restart here. Clearly part of the game plan for Georgetown. On whistles, get going. And unforced error that time by the Hoyas. Jack Beer came on in the first half and starts the second half for Brian Weiss.
When you're in a battle, the element of surprise can be extremely beneficial, and I think these quick restarts can catch a team in an outnumbered situation. And quick transition, especially when you've got Achara out there, as Georgetown does, puts you in a not only a numbers up situation, but certainly in an effort up and intensity up situation.
Jacob Chakroon is standing next to Sasho Sarovsky. Looks like he might get a run here fairly early in the second half. Gielan back out there to start. Matsalevich and Gielan up top. They play it to Matsalevich. Rio Hope gunned. Matsalevich just never stops working. He has kept it in bounds and dropped it on a dime to Justin Harris. And the freshman right in front of the crew just did not get it on frame. What a pass from Matsalevich. What effort.
Matsalevich does a really great job of getting this ball to the corner. And then he's going 1v1 against Hope Gund. Does a terrific job of cutting it back, getting away from the defender. Hope Gund gets stuck to the outside. That ball left back. And the effort by Harris, as we've seen with chances tonight for both teams going over the crossbar.
That play right there kind of epitomizes why and how Sasho doesn't take Matsalevich out anymore. He used to always run in and out, didn't start a ton last year, thought he was a starter, talked to Sasho about being a starter, found a better role as a sub, and now he can't come out of the game because he's working so hard.
He's only got those 3 goals. He's got 11 starts this year, 52 appearances at Maryland. Came into the program when there was just a ton of individual talent, and is now finding time and space of his own to show the work that he can do in a Terrapin uniform. Eli Cronali very involved now. This is a great penetrating ball, although it's a square ball, but it's a ball into space, and Cronali's got real estate in front of him, and Georgetown has to shut him down.
Sawatsky shut him down with a foul. Sticking with it, Matsalevich. Matsalevich was thinking shot right there as he tried to play it back to his left foot, as Matsalevich can hit it with both. But that extra touch allowed Georgetown to get it out of there. Wonderful atmosphere here at Ludwig Field. Monday night on FS1. Delighted to be with you. Chris Dorr and Dean Linke. Knocked away there by Johnston. And Chris, we were talking about it yesterday. Both teams feature freshmen that play like seniors. You hear that a lot, but in this case, it really does feel that way.
Johnston from Ontario, Canada, played with Vaughan SC. It's the same club where Dane St. Clair, the former goalkeeper here at Maryland, played for. And Johnston is one of those players with that high maturity, high attitude, and high confidence level for a player, for a freshman.
Yeah, well said, Chris, as Harris is bumped off by Montez. Referee again letting those hip checks go. For the most part, has kept the whistle silent, as we showed you with those first half stats. Limited fouls. As you called it, great respect between the two teams, the way you broke it down. Dotson back in there for Georgetown. A junior from Aurora, Illinois. Dotson, without question, the liveliest, most talkative player in practice. And now the crew's starting to make some noise as Maryland looking to get on the board. DeRosa making a run forward. Handled there by Georgetown. You saw Justin Gielan thinking there was a handball. One right back by Johnston. Johnston will get it out wide to Cronali. Cronali will get it back. Cronali can serve a good ball. Headed out of there by Georgetown. Nifty little flick. Here come the Hoyas. Jacob Montez, the junior from Wake Worth, Florida. Montez stays with it. It's got Dotson and Achara. Two good choices. Achara can hit it here, and he does. Saved by Neumann. Achara trying to bend it far post. Neumann able to parry it away.
Well, this is a big-time back and forth, and Nealis gets into the tangle. He's able to leave a ball outside. Achara is eventually going to find himself sitting atop the 18, going to try to meat hook that ball into the upper right-hand corner, but Neumann is up to the task. You almost want Neumann to bring that ball down. I don't think it had as much pace on it as he expected it to have, but it gets bailed out by his defenders.
Dotson, great run. As trying to get to it was Sands, who has stayed in there. Dotson, most players would have given up on that. He's got the extra pace to get it off the end line and making a run on the other side. Will Sands, the freshman from Rye, New York. Richardson. Montez. Achara.
That's a little bit of a problem in Maryland's possession. Bergman had the possession of the ball, and instead of shifting the ball on the pass from one side to the other, he actually opts to dribble into the center of the park, then drop it off. When he drops it off, he actually leaves his fellow center back, Brett St. Martin, without any support back there. And then St. Martin got into a tight spot, had to get rid of it with pressure from Achara, and that becomes a very dangerous spot where Maryland is potentially turning the ball over.
Georgetown will switch it just like that to Nealis. Nealis, the right back. Back across again. Sands will pop it in the air. A lot of white jerseys around it. There's St. Martin, who will head it. The battle. Matsalevich comes back to get a touch on it. Trying to start Maryland in transition. If they can get something going, give Matsalevich credit for starting it. And guess who's chesting it right there? Matsalevich again. And now another touch. Matsalevich. Maryland going the other way. And Eric Matsalevich with 3 important touches. Here they come. Let's see if Matsalevich will be at the end of this cross. Cronali has it taken away before they can make that final pass to Matsalevich. As the fans running across to join the crew behind the Georgetown goalkeeper. Georgetown going the other way, though. Montez has made a long run. He'll drop it to Sands. Achara waiting on the far post. Do they see him? They'll switch it back over. Shot from the middle. Women will let it go. Achara was open on the right side, Chris. Had his hand in the air, but they never found their way over there. Zawadzki came forward to take the shot.
Yeah, maybe they cycle that ball through just one more time. You get tempted because you're standing atop the 18 or just outside the 18, and you think, all right, well, I've got it. Might as well take the crack at it. But Zawadzki opts to go ahead and sit on it instead of cycling it all the way through to the other side. Great build-up from Georgetown, and the ball served to the outside. Maryland does the shift. DeRosa is going to close down penetrating pass. And it'll be back out. That's exactly what he does. He gets a really great settling touch on that ball, and Zawadzki falls short on the effort.
Almost 15 minutes into this second half. The pace continues to be outstanding. Nealis. He is not afraid to send a diagonal ball 50 yards. Nealis. 4 brothers that played high-level D1 soccer, including his brother Jimmy, who starred here for Brian Weiss. Nealis. Drop it back to O'Hearn. Now's real hope gun as Daniel Wu starts the second half on the bench. O'Hearn. Montez had big numbers this year. Was off of St. Martin. It's loose. Neumann. And how did that not go in? Georgetown thinks it's in. Dotson thinks it's in. And it looks like the referee wants to take a look at it to see if, in fact, it is in.
Well, this is unbelievable build-up, and it's very quick combination play through a lot of traffic. 5 defenders in a wall set back by Maryland, and it finally gets to the other side as Sands takes the shot. Here's the look that the referee will look at. And that ball does not cross the line in hole. It is saved by the Maryland defender.
Great effort, DeRosa on the other side. Matt DeRosa. DeRosa, right? Look at 25 DeRosa sliding in. And then his brother, Matt, as Ben was there. And that did not cross the line, Chris. You're right. Save there by Matt DeRosa. And what's your lesson to young players at home right there? Never give up, right?
Never give up. Your goalkeeper could always use a helping foot, and that's exactly what DeRosa offers. So our referee, Soren Stoica, has just seen what you have seen, and he will come out and inform everyone that he has viewed the tape, thanks to our great FS1 crew here at Ludwig Field, and has made the decision to move on.
That's the play of the game. That is the play of the game. Matt DeRosa, as Georgetown now with 9 shots to just 3 for Maryland. They have come out with their hair on fire here in the second half, putting pressure on Maryland. But Matt DeRosa with his brother sliding in. Ben, it's Matt who saves the day. Montez, who started it all. Montez right back out off that whistle and the clearance. Now Nealis will drop it back to O'Hearn. O'Hearn sent in. Maryland under some pressure. Matalevich, he's been doing a ton of work to try to get the offense going. Nealis with the contact, and once again the whistle stays put as Maryland looking to make another change. David Kovacic, who had a dangerous opportunity in that first half, will check back in. Nealis continues to make the run. He'll trap it. Takes his time. Sent back across. Not there for Achara. Dotson was lurking behind. The touch coming down from the Georgetown Hoyas. Back in again, but nobody home. It'll go out of bounds. So Maryland bending, but not breaking, and we're still at zeros.
The excitement in this play and that build-up that Georgetown is offering right now as they feed off of Dylan Nealis' efforts up the flank. They add one more attacker to the mix, and they're able to get a lot of dangerous crosses in there. But as you say, the DeRosas in combination with Johannes Bergman, Brett St. Martin, they continue to just keep that wall steady back there for Maryland.
More changes for Georgetown. As we told you, they'll go 19 or 20 deep, even when they play a top 25 opponent, because there's no drop-off. When you bring in player 14, he's every bit as good as player 7 or 8. So Brian Weiss giving him time. Paul Rothrock, the junior from Seattle, transferred from Notre Dame, back into the game. And Riviere, the little buzzsaw that flies all over, also back into the game for the Hoyas. And as we told you, Kovacic, David Kovacic into the game for Maryland.
One of the things Georgetown does really well is they identify when they can put pressure on an opponent. When they do that, they do it with such great defensive shape that they make it very difficult for Maryland at this point to really enjoy some sort of transition to the midfield at least. We saw a little bit more of it from Maryland in the first half, but I think Georgetown has tightened the screws on applying pressure deep in the attacking half when Maryland has the ball.
And they do it through their right back. Nealis is on it. Great trap. Nealis. He's got the ability to dribble into the defender and still get off a good cross every single time.
One of the things he does is he actually coaxes the defender, and then when he notes where the defender is going to be a bit off balance or has placed his foot forward where he shouldn't, he just sweeps that ball up. He's done it a couple of times. It's a driven ball. It's not coming in especially hard, but it is just a really well-served ball.
Yeah, he's the right back. He's got 4 assists. Not surprised at all by that high number because of the quality of his service, as that one will roll out of bounds. Matalevich will let it roll out of bounds. That'll give him a chance to get inside the 18. And there'll be another change for Maryland. Luke Brown had a good run in the first half. He's coming in, and now a rare rest. In fact, look, Matalevich, he's shocked a little bit. That's how much he's been playing. He's not been coming out much. He wasn't expecting to come out either. He'll get back in there.
Yeah, he'll get a breather, quick sip of water, and then back in.
There's the hero, without question. Matt DeRosa clearing off a goal for Georgetown off the line. Video review proving exactly that. Brown has come off the bench. Looking strong, staying with it. Brown was perhaps looking to earn a corner kick. Dotson, we've seen Dotson just make some incredible touches back to goal and even facing it. Riviere making that long run. Achara stays on side. Now they regroup. They get it to the left. Rothrock. Achara. Dotson! And the Hoyas have scored! 1-0 Georgetown. Dotson!
Zach Riviera comes off the bench. This is Riviera at just about the middle of the defending half of the field, and he goes on a solo flight right up the middle of the field. Now he's going to attract defenders, and he doesn't lay that ball out wide. He just puts it in the path of his runner on the other side. The big-time finish from Derek Dotson with so much composure. His 4th goal of the season.
I think Achara may have got a touch on that to drop it. Rothrock laid it across. If Achara didn't get a touch, it was one of the best dummies out there as well, which is the same purpose. And now Achara is running it on. We'll take another look at the next opportunity at that goal to see if Achara dummied it or if he, in fact, laid it off. Either way, great run from Rothrock. Now, Dotson's got one. Neumann will two-fist it down to the ground.
That ball is dipping as it comes in over the 18, right to Neumann. This is the cross ball. Achara looking for a touch. He gets a settling touch on it. He actually puts it on. He puts it on the turf. He cuts the flight of the ball. That's a great catch, Dean. A great catch as Achara lays that ball off for Dotson.
Double assist, Achara and Rothrock. You know, that touch kind of deadened it just enough where Dotson could do what he wanted to do with it to make it 1-0. And how about the celebration as well? You think this game means a little bit to these two teams separated by not even 10 miles?
These guys all know each other. Some of them play with one another in off-season team environments, and they've certainly been cognizant of one another's careers being so close to each other, at least geographically. And two really terrific programs run by great coaches.
So Rothrock comes off the bench, makes that great run. As we mentioned, one of 4 kids, 3 sisters, and he said his sister's expecting a baby any day. That may have done it right there. As Richardson is on it. Bergman to DeRosa. Justin Geelan. Maryland. They were able to battle back against Michigan State down a goal. Let's see if they can do it. Chara starting to heat up here. Chara, Dotson, Rothrock, Montez, Riviere. That's what Ryan Weiss was talking about. All these attacking options, figuring out. He even said, he's watching it. He's excited. He looks over on the bench and says, wait, that guy should be playing. He should be in there. What do I do? And that's the dilemma that's facing Brian Weiss.
We'll have an offside call on Chara, but, you know, at that moment during the call, after listening to so many college coaches this year lament the fact that they have injured players, I just told Brian, you know, there isn't a college coach in the country who wants to hear about your problems with too many goal scorers on the bench.
Dotson with his 4th goal of the season. Dropped off by Achara, who has missed a ton of games. I believe 8 games in full, but has come back ready to rock. His 3 goals already, and then that perfect assist. Rothrock appropriately will get the 2nd assist, which I love about college soccer, that they do that 2nd assist. Of course, next level, they don't do that, Chris Doran. Don't give that extra helper out.
Oh, that's right.
O'Nally.
See if Maryland can get a little bit of this game back. The fans had left the game, not physically, but at least in spirit, for a good portion of the first half because Georgetown had the run of play. But I think Maryland still has an opportunity here to make it extremely interesting. And they really came out of the locker room with Crinali a little bit more active, with, of course, the sub throws things off with Metzelevich not on the field, but Metzelevich was really putting the work in. They got a couple of players underneath to support in that effort. And something comes of it for Maryland.
Sasso Shirosky, we told you earlier that Jacob Chakroon was warming up, the freshman from Johns Creek, Georgia, part of KSA program down there in Georgia, is going to come on the next opportunity. See what he can bring to the game, listed as a midfielder.
Here's a restart opportunity now. Just not a very smart defensive play by Georgetown, and they've given Maryland, where they know a team that is very dangerous on restarts, a chance to whip a ball in.
Sasho going to bring Metzelevich in there with Chakroon. And as Chris Dorn just told you, you're going to see a ton of white jerseys right at the top of the 18, far enough away from Romero. Headed out, though, by Georgetown. Richardson sends it right back in and headed again there by Georgetown. As Georgetown, a little height in there as Pavara, 6'4". Dotson trying to switch it. What a ball. Flag is down. Rothrock, can he run it down? He can. What a ball from Dotson switching it. And the Hoyas now on the attack. Riviere, nifty little moves. This young man can play. Hard tackle coming in. Was that St. Martin on the tackle?
I think it was.
Riviere's a handful.
He cuts the ball so well, too. Does a great job of keeping possession under the pressure.
Montez, good ball. And headed out of there by St. Martin again. Brett St. Martin has had himself a big-time game. He's the son of one of the most successful high school coaches in the DMV, Mount St. Joseph, down the road in Baltimore. Mike St. Martin, who's also the boys' DLC for Baltimore Celtic. Big-time coach, and he's seeing his son put on a big-time performance. Riviere, Neumann there, and Riviere back again.
I think that first ball was a deflection, but Neumann's covering his front post, which is advantageous for him in that sequence. Gets a little tied up, then he sneaks to the near post. DeRose is there, but does well to block that shot. Second effort off target.
That was Foster McCune, actually. Check it twice. Foster McCune wearing 22. That was dangerous there, Chris. As this young man, Neumann's been under some pressure here, and his team is down 1-0 with 18 and change left. And Foster McCune, after those two opportunities, will come off. Brian Weiss salutes the play of number 22. Trying to tie it. One shot on the run. Luke Brown, good idea. Romero was in the right spot. Romero did well to just stay on his line. Dotson, side of his foot. Montez. Oh! He is putting up big numbers. He'll play the 9. He'll play the 10. He'll have the ball at his feet, and he almost made it 2-0.
Well, this is a great sequence for Georgetown. Quick change to the other way, going the other way. The battle for possession and eventually getting Montez headed toward goal with that right foot. And Neumann's feet were planted. He really had no look at this. Here's going the other way. Luke Brown one time on the volley. And not much of a challenge for Romero.
And think about all the goal scorers on this team with Dotson and Achara and Riviere, and it's Montez who leads the team with 5 goals. And he can hit it from anywhere. Brown had that shot a moment ago. Nice job checking back, but ripped out of there by Dante Pavera, a freshman from Pleasantville, New York. Rothrock, what a spark. The transfer from Notre Dame. Daniel Wu back into the game with this 1-0 lead. Riviere will leave it. Montez. Rothrock's got an assist. I'm not sure. I don't think that was a shot. He was looking to get it back to Riviere on the far post.
His coach calls him the happy runner. He's always smiling after these big-time runs. This is a great ball to the outside. Rothrock's got plenty of space to run into. No defender as DeRosa's been sucked in to help the central backs. And it is a shot on frame, or an effort at a shot on frame. Rothrock doesn't have much of an angle in this situation, but a cross ball is going to have to come out to the 6. He's headed to that far post with that effort.
All the way from Seattle, Rothrock settling in. Montez. He's got Rothrock to his left. Montez, not afraid to do it on his own. That time perhaps tried to do too much, and he's looking to run it down, but it'll go out of bounds.
We talked about the glue guys before this game started. Nick Richardson is the glue guy for Maryland, sits in the middle, and he's sitting there alone tonight with Johnston and Crinali and whoever's coming in for those guys a little bit more forward in the central defense. But Richardson has, as a redshirt freshman, really put in a senior-type effort tonight.
Bouncing around, Crinali. One back by Montez. Montez has been magical. Montez. Neumann with the save, back across. I think it hit the far post. Riviere. It may have hit some woodwork as it went back across. Neumann keeping Maryland in this one.
Great sequence. Riviere on the far post. He gets this second ball after the Neumann save. It goes off the goal post and then deflects back out for a goal kick for Maryland. Watch this ball come right to your near post.
Wow.
Neumann with a breath of relief there.
Maryland trying to get some offense going. They came into the game averaging 12.6 shots per game and 5.3 shots on goal. Their numbers against this Georgetown team, 4 shots against their season average of 12.6, 2 shots on goal against their average of 5.3. Give Georgetown a whole lot of credit for those numbers. Part of the reason is Georgetown has held a lot of possession here. Dotson. Saw Sands making that run.
Tomas, you're the worst goalie!
Daniel Wu.
A little more direct from Georgetown. They're mixing it up tonight.
Wu steps in. One back by Kovacic. David Kovacic. Knocked away by Sands. Dotson. 2 players on him. Tries to go right through. Good job by Maryland to win it back.
Win it back, though, in the midfield, and you've got to protect that possession at that point. Pushing a ball to your front runner where he's covered by 2 center backs is asking too much, I think, against Georgetown. And pulling more players into, and I think that's part of the problem right now, is Maryland is not drawing enough players into the attack once they've got possession.
The veteran Lochner. And Lochner has it knocked out of bounds. I thought maybe Lochner was going to deal one there, but he had Sands over to his left, and before he could drop it, Maryland knocked it out of bounds. It'll be another corner for Georgetown.
Noe is not rushing this effort as they work the clock. Little game management. Montez will go ahead and put this back into play. Grew up in Florida. He went out last year to Beaverton and became part of the Portland Timbers Academy. Got a couple of game winners under his belt this season.
8th corner of the game. Looking for Wu. O'Hearn swinging a miss. Kept alive, though. Johannes Bergman got a touch. And Johannes Bergman will head it away. One back here by Nealis. Dylan Nealis. Nealis. That's a good soccer player right there, Chris Dorn. Complete package.
Yeah, he's super smart the way he's playing that situation. Just that moment where he's understanding that he's not going to be able to get around and behind the defender, so just play it for the corner kick, give your team another chance at a set piece.
Woo heads it down, turning with it. Dotson took a big swing. Brown got in the way. Now a collision. Again, referee letting him play. Matulevich will try to break out. Kovacic with the touch. Matulevich has got it. David Kovacic. More changes coming. Is Sasha looking for an answer from anybody? Justin Gielen will get a chance. Chris Rindolph getting an opportunity for a run here as Sasho trying to find some magic anywhere he can find it. Rindolph, a freshman from Rockville, Maryland, Rockville High School. And our first quality look at Rindolph. Matulevich looking for Gielen. And closed down by Nealis, doing it on both sides of the ball. Montez and Sasho.
Well, the opportunity coming as Riviere does such a nice job of coming up the middle on the dribble and holding off defenders as he gets players opening up. And on the far side, terrific service across and a quick ball laid off neatly by Georgetown. And the opportunity to finish gets them to that one goal up. Dotson.
Rothrock to Achara to Dotson. And that is the scoreline. 1-0. Georgetown on top of Maryland. Georgetown's record against the mighty Maryland team, 3-29-2. However, it's been the story for Georgetown. Their last 3 victories have come the last 5 seasons, including 2 on this field. And they're 8 minutes and 30-some seconds away from making it 3 on this field, which not too many teams anywhere in the country can say.
Although I have to pay off our buddy Tim Lenahan at Northwestern because he came in here on a Friday night and beat them 3-1 earlier this season.
Yeah, he did. That's a massive win. Northwestern, by the way, Achara Jr. scored a goal against Indiana. A beautiful goal. The younger brother of Achara, who had the assist here in this one. And Achara's warming up. He wants to get back in there to close this one out, and he may. The veteran Ethan Lochner in his 5th season, trying to soak it all in. Achara's going to come over and get back into this game. Dotson looked like he was offside, and he is. What an outstanding young man, Achara, telling us how his family got behind him. Said they came from a very poor family, 4 siblings, and got an opportunity to come over. Berkshire School. Went through the recruiting process, picked Georgetown, just felt right at home with Brian Weiss, and now he's planning on playing the next level. But he did say, you know what, if it doesn't work out, I've got my degree. That's one thing about this Georgetown team. Most of them get their degrees in 3 years while they're playing soccer at a school that is held in high regard academically.
I think we heard that same story from Stanford as well. It is a pretty amazing equation when you think about the academic demands of any institution. And then Georgetown and the bundle of responsibility that comes with being a student there, being able to accomplish that in 3.5 years. Pretty incredible stuff.
So in the final 6.5 minutes, Sasho Soroski going to mix things up as Cronali goes to the bench. Gielan with Nealis coming in hard. Nealis is going to get a card for that tackle. So a yellow card on Nealis as he came in hard on Justin Gielan. More importantly, Maryland will have an opportunity to serve one in here.
Dylan Nealis has played a flawless game tonight, but in this situation, he's coming right out on Gielan, and he's going to come in from behind. And it was sold quite well by Gielan, I think. The call, nonetheless, a restart. Eli Cronali off the field, and so Johannes Bergman will step up.
Great call, Chris. Cronali's not there. They'll use Bergman's left foot. So watch him bend it around in front of the 6, trying to keep it away from the youngster Romero. Bergman. Kept alive by Maryland. Cranking one is DeRosa, who was the hero on the other side. Not so much with that shot right there from Matt DeRosa.
Well, it's a tough shot. You're going to get closed down at that spot. Matt DeRosa knows that he doesn't have a lot of time to get that off. He winds around it, but doesn't stay underneath it enough.
Look at Georgetown defensively. 0 goals allowed in the last 385 minutes. I'd like to add 6 more minutes to that one, as that's what we've got left here, Chris.
Before we started the game, they had 2 goalkeepers who each had goals against averages below .49.
Yeah.
Tommy Romero's at .39, and his counterpart is at .49. I mean, that's pretty incredible. And he's got 6 starts under his belt.
His counterpoint is Giannis Nicopolidis, who played the majority of the games last year, and now he's got this youngster Romero. They're splitting time, and they can't go wrong either way. Good run from Sands as McCune comes back in to try to close this one out, as we look and see if Brian Weiss tries to make some understandable adjustments defensively to hold off this Maryland team that is going to throw the kitchen sink and then some at it.
Well, remember, we talked about how that's the next level of this Georgetown team's development. Coach Weiss challenging them yesterday. I want to know who the leaders are going to be in this group, who in a game just like this, with this kind of time left, is going to, which leader is going to step up and say, we're not going to let the opponent score.
First half stats had shots, 5 for Georgetown, 2 for Maryland. Second half stats, 11 shots for Georgetown, 3 for Maryland, 16-5 shot advantage for the Georgetown Hoyas. Number 12 in the country, as we told you, though, the RPI even higher, so perhaps the coaches will move Georgetown up a little bit. I think they're showing the qualities of, in fact, the top 5 team for sure. This is a team that's got veteran leadership all over the field, as well as the sophomores, Zadwatsky, and freshmen that are ready for the moment. Achara, the senior. If not for injuries, he may have shattered some records at Georgetown, but injuries have been part of the story. Achara trying to get a touch on it. Neumann, far post with Dotson there. And Neumann truly keeping Maryland in this game.
Yeah, the freshman goalkeeper has been big tonight. This is a giant service, and Achara's making the run. Does he get a slip on it? He does. He gets a touch on it, but Neumann's there at the far post to deny Georgetown a second goal.
That is a big-time play from Neumann, as Dotson was lurking there. So not only did Neumann have to save it, he had to make sure that it didn't go near Dotson, who has already shown great finishing qualities. He's got the only goal so far in this one. And now Montez, who truly has been spectacular tonight, is down there trying to short-circuit this game, as the clock now becoming the enemy of Maryland. Dotson. Now Maryland will get it back. Let's see what they'll go with. Harris is in there. Matulevich is in there. Gielan is in there. They got to get it to him, though. DeRosa looking for Matulevich, and they'll call a whistle first. Bring it back for Maryland. The clock will keep on running. Sasho Soroski directing traffic, sending all the white jerseys forward. This is a good opportunity. Bergman can hit it 50-60 pretty accurately. High, lofted ball. That second ball is going to be key. Achara in a foot race with DeRosa. One back by Georgetown. Achara did enough right there. Those are the details that Brian Weiss was talking about, particularly late in this game here at Ludwig. Maryland just needs one opportunity. Richardson. They throw in Maryland. You see the extra effort coming now from Rindolph. Comes over, now he'll leave it for even a better throw in. Far side, Ben DeRosa. He'll give it now to Richardson. Richardson, little touch, back to DeRosa. DeRosa, 2 blue jerseys sent in. Handled there by Zawadzki. Zawadzki's been as advertised. As they play it back to Neumann, Achara in a foot race. Neumann wanted to keep that in bounds, and how about Achara late in this one, putting some heat on Neumann, and that helps their cause because it goes out of bounds, clock keeps running.
Right, and Neumann was probably second-guessing himself on the exit. That ball was laid out perfectly by Georgetown to put it in no man's land and not give Neumann the opportunity to make a clear-cut decision on exit.
Dotson is offside. Otherwise, he may have been able to seal it. That flag was huge. Now Maryland will get the white jerseys forward. Bergman will bomb it again. Second ball is key, and Georgetown has been getting to those second balls. They'll say off of Dotson. Maryland's got a chance here, folks. Headed out of there. Played down in the middle. Richardson again. Lofted over the top. Into the 18. Back across. Climbing the ladders. Wu, and Wu is fouled. And that might do it. Let's see if the referee will stop the clock as Daniel Wu goes down to the ground.
Good sequence, second ball, goes to the corner or goes to the goal line, and then it's popped back in. That's really smart to keep it in the mixer. Wu goes down on the foul. Good call.
And the Georgetown Hoyas make the 8-mile trek over to College Park, and Brian Weiss's Hoyas team knocks off Sasho Soroski's Maryland Terrapins by a score of 1-0. Mr. Dotson with the only goal.
Dotson's been terrific. Thomas Romero was terrific for Georgetown. Overall, what a machine the Hoyas are. In particular, the second half did not give Maryland really much of a bite at the apple. And in the end, they leave College Park with the victory.
16 shots for Georgetown, 5 for Maryland, and defensively another shutout.
Well, it's really strong for Brian Weiss, and it's got to give him some level of satisfaction and confidence as they continue to wrap up the season with their 6 games.